ज्ञानानन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सङ्गनारघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सद्गणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतिषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरोर्भ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमोस्तुते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्रे येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः प्रज्वलितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः प्रपन्नपरिजाताय स्तोत्रवैत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतादुहे। This is chapter 1 of Bhagavad-Gita as it is today, right? So far we have been studying the introduction. So now begins the actual Sanskrit verses. This chapter is entitled Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. Hmm. So this chapter is like a prelude or introduction to the whole book. Just like Srila Prabhupada has given an introduction to the book, Vyasadeva has given his introduction to Bhagavad-Gita, and that introduction is chapter 1. Actually, Krishna's teachings to Arjuna begin from chapter 2. So chapter 1 is kind of setting the background of understanding what Krishna is saying, why is he saying, why Arjuna is behaving like that, you know. So chapter 1 uh, requires a very good understanding for us to understand what will be explained in future. I have always given this example. If you know the problem and understand the problem, you will understand the solution. If you don't understand the problem, how can you understand the solution? Right? So, chapter 1 helps us understand the problem of Arjuna. Then the further chapters help us understand the solution given by Krishna. Hmm. Therefore, to chapter 1, Srila Prabhupada has given extensive commentary. If you study Ramanujacharya's commentary to Bhagavad Gita, he doesn't give any commentary to chapter 1. Srila Madhvacharya, he doesn't give any commentary to chapter 1. Because people of those days, they knew the purpose of Gita, the importance of this message. But present times, people don't even understand the importance of this message. Therefore, Prabhupada is preparing them to understand what Bhagavad Gita is giving in chapter 1. you know. So this is mostly like a story. The whole chapter is full of what do you call incidents that were happening on the battlefield on the day one before the battle began and before Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. Right? Uh, let's look at the slides. Okay. So we need the Mangalacharan. Srila Prabhupada says that this Bhagavad Gita, as it is, or Bhagavad Gita in general, is the compassion of Lord Krishna. It is Krishna's Bhakta Vatsalata, compassion upon his devotee. So placing Arjuna into illusion um, is Krishna's will. And then Krishna is also removing Arjuna from illusion. It's just like, someone is wearing very nice, clean cloth. Let's say someone is wearing a very nice, clean white shirt. So what do? You put some mud on it. And after that, then you ask that person to take the shirt off and then you clean it and then give it to that person again. That's what is happening here. First, Krishna puts Arjuna in illusion and then Krishna tells Arjuna, now I'll remove your illusion. So why Krishna does all that? Just to help us understand who are in illusion, the way to come out of illusion. Isn't it? So this is the whole strategy here between Krishna and Arjuna. It is Krishna's strategy, but Arjuna is cooperating with Krishna in his plan. Purpose of the Gita. Why did Krishna leave the Bhagavad Gita? This is a lecture of Srila Prabhupada, a part of it. Out of his compassion, so that after my disappearance, people will take advantage of this Bhagavad Gita, as I instructed my dear friend Arjuna. They will also take advantage and become free from the clutches of death. This is the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Lecture September 7, 1975, Vrindavan. So Krishna has given this message thinking of the future, the people who are going to come, who will not get his personal darshan, will not get his personal association, will not get a personal guidance from him. So for all of them, he has left this message of Bhagavad Gita, making Arjuna only a medium, right? So this makes it very clear that actually Gita was not spoken for Arjuna. Actually, Gita was left by Krishna for all of us. Arjuna was just a medium, right? So, but it was for all of us that Krishna left this message. Dhritarashtra's words. So this chapter begins with the first verse spoken by Dhritarashtra. Look at the Sanskrit. What does Dhritarashtra say? Hmm. This is the only verse spoken by Dhritarashtra in Bhagavad Gita. He is making an inquiry in this verse. And on that inquiry, Sanjaya is going to make a reply which will form first chapter and the other chapters. So Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveda Yuyutsavah Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtra Uvacha means Dhritarashtra said. Dhritarashtra. Dhrita means to be very strongly attached. Rashtra means kingdom. So one who is very strongly attached to the kingdom is Dhritarashtra. So what did he say? He said, Dharma Chetre, there is a place of pilgrimage. Huh? It's a Dharma Chetra, place of pilgrimage. Fine. Someone may ask, what is the name of that place? Kurukshetra. So that place of pilgrimage is called Kurukshetra. Huh? That name is derived from the name of a king. The king's name was Kuru, who used to rule over this land and who desired that this land, just like any piece of land, may be used for cultivating some kind of crop. So he desired that this land should be used for cultivating dharma. So that's how this place became a dharma kshetra. Many things happen at this place. If you study the history of India, Bharata, many religious uh, things happened here. Many great personalities appeared there or did some wonderful activity there. Therefore, it became a dharma kshetra. Samaveta means to come together, gather. Yuyutsavaha. So he's saying at the place of pilgrimage, which is Kurukshetra, some people they gather to fight. Who were they? First, Mamakava, my sons. And then Pandavashaiva, the sons of Pandu. So this is his statement to Sanjaya. But then he's asking a question. What is he saying? Kim akurvata Sanjaya. What did they do? Hmm, What did they do? Fine. Why did they choose to fight in a Dharma Kshetra? Why did they choose to fight in a Dharma Kshetra? Why?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I'm
Yeah.
because they wanted the influence of the holy place for the righteousness of the battle, perhaps. I think.
Because they thought that if we fight on in a religious place, we'll fight it in morality. We will not do some injustice during the fight out of fear of the holy place. Now, so therefore they chose to fight in a holy place. It was far away from the capital. In Hastinapur was the capital. So they went little far from Hastinapur, chose an area where no population was living, uh, and it was a holy place. So they decided to fight there. So Dhritarashtra's question is that, fine. Now this question has a lot of hidden meanings actually. Why is he asking like this? What does he intend to ask actually? So we'll read the translation here. Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjay, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra deciding to fight, what did they do? This is what is asking. Purport. Bhagavad-Gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and trying to understand it without personally motivated interpretations. And that's what we are trying to do in this course. We are trying to scrutinizingly study Bhagavad Gita with the help of a person who is a devotee. And who is that? That is Srila Prabhupada, because we are trying to study the purpose given by Srila Prabhupada. Fine. Next, the example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teachings understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand the Bhagavad Gita in that line of disciplic succession without motivated interpretation, then it surpasses all studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. Now, very interesting thing. If you are fortunate to just study or understand Gita in the line of disciplic succession, you surpass all the studies of Vedic wisdom and all scriptures of the world. That means if I study Bhagavad Gita nicely, I know Bible, I know Quran, I know all the religious scriptures. What to speak of the religious scriptures outside the Vedic tradition? Even inside the Vedic tradition, there are so many Puranas, so many Itihasas, so many books are there. So I know all of them if I know Bhagavad Gita. That's the beauty of this literature. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found elsewhere. Right? That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is a perfect theistic science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Huh? Okay. So therefore, one thing which I always tell devotees who are studying Bhagavad Gita is that Srimad Bhagavatam is very vast, voluminous. Chaitanya Charitamrita is also very vast, voluminous. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is also very, very voluminous. But Bhagavad Gita is only 700 verses. So which means that those who like to study and thoroughly understand subject matters, at least they should give good attention and put efforts in understanding this one scripture very nicely by studying it again and again from different angles. So sometime you read Bhagavad Gita explanation given by Srila Prabhupada. After that, you can study the commentary of Valdev Vidyabhushan, then Ramanujacharya, then Sridhar Swami, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So many explanations are there just on this one book, Bhagavad Gita. And then that makes your understanding of everything given in the Vedas complete. Hmm? The topics discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, as described in the Mahabharata, form the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. Now, there's a question. You see, Krishna decides to give Bhagavad Gita through Arjuna. So, why did Krishna chose that time only to give this message? He and Arjuna were with each other at so many times during their entire presence on the planet. So Krishna could have put Arjuna in illusion sometime else also, right? Just like he put Arjuna in illusion at this moment. He could have put Arjuna in illusion at some other time also. So why did Krishna choose this moment, this particular situation, where something like that is going to happen? And he's deciding to give the message of Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna.
Prabhuji, this is because Krishna says that when there is a rise of a religion and decline
No,
of religion.
rise of irreligion was only during the battlefield. It was also 5 years ago, 10 years ago, before that time. So Krishna could have chosen some other time, moment, situation to give this message. Why that battlefield time? It is so crucial time. When they have come there to decide for their good,
May I
who's
try?
going.
And our
Yeah,
focus very, we are very focused at that time. It's like the whole
yeah,
concept.
you are very focused at that time, but then your focus is on something else now, which is the battle, which is life and death. So why did he choose that moment?
Because
Prabhuji,
it
because
represents, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
uh, because it uh, because it represents the I don't know, the plight of the jiva in this world, um, in one sense.
Okay. It represents this Arjuna situation there, problematic situation there is something with which everyone can correlate. Okay, we are
Yes,
also in problems sometimes like that.
yes, yes.
Okay, yes. What else could be the reason for Krishna to choose that time?
Prabhuji, because maybe Krishna wants to set an example
Because
for everybody.
Set an example of what kind? What example?
So this is a do and die situation, Prabhuji, right? So,
The do and die situation is there, correct. So,
so
एंड कैसे रेज कर दे प्रभु जी
hmm,
the fight is going to start and at that time everyone is curious to know what is going to happen, so if at that time if the Gita is spoken then everyone may pay attention to it and may listen to it very nicely.
the Krishna doesn't want to speak to everyone. Yeah, he want through the to the audience. Yes, for the audience, it is something which is very interesting point that in the whole story, the battle is going to begin, and therefore, so okay, all those points are correct.
Class
Nothing
one.
wrong there. But there is one more point
Okay,
also
okay,
which
okay.
Krishna is trying to
Sarva
make through
evening.
arrangement. What is just like Arjuna took out time to hear this message in such a critical situation, uh, you also might be in very critical times in your life, but you should still take out time to hear this. Mhm. The message importance is so high that it is for even that time when you may die, you know, and you may have to do things to protect your life. The message is so important. Therefore, Krishna chose that time to to signify the importance of the message, the value of the message. Isn't it? It's like, to give an example, let's say PM of a country, the PM of a country is in a very busy meeting. Okay. Now, at that time, the secretary gets a message for the PM. The secretary may get so many messages for the PM, but will the secretary pass on every single message to the PM? No, because the secretary knows it's a very busy meeting going on. So these messages can be given later also at some other time. But if there is an emergency crisis situation, then the secretary is forced to, you know, enter into the room, disturb everyone, and still tell the PM by giving a note that, okay, there is an emergency now. Then, which means the message was so important that the secretary took the risk of disturbing everyone. Hmm. Even if the PM said, don't disturb us. Similarly, Krishna is indirectly telling us that the message of Gita is so important that even the war can be stopped for it. Even the war can be stopped for it. And people should give attention to it. So that tells us the importance of the message. Very important, Bhagavad-Gita in that sense, and very practical also in life. Uh, the word Dharmakshetra, place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. Uh, so here we are understanding the hidden meaning of Dhritarashtra's statements. In this paragraph, you come to know about different emotions of Dhritarashtra or mental situations. First, he is doubtful. Doubtful about what? About the possibility of his son's victory. Hmm? So, anyway, that doubt is a natural thing. You don't know who is going to win. So, he is already doubtful. Who will win? But that's all? Is he only doubtful? No, he's not just doubtful. Further, it comes. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary Sanjaya, what did they do? So he has a doubt and he expressed that doubt. What did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his brother, younger brother Pandu, were assembled in that battlefield of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. He knew that they went there to fight and they were very adamant to fight. Still, his inquiry is significant. Why? Because he did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers. And he wanted to be sure of the fate of his sons on the battlefield. He doesn't want a compromise. That means he doesn't want any kind of deal between them. Let's not fight. Let us just settle the matter by some negotiation. He didn't want that. Because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denizens of heaven, Dhritarashtra became very fearful about the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He was doubtful. He was also fearful of the influence of the holy place on the battle. He was thinking, he knew very well that this would influence Arjuna and the sons of Pandu favorably because they were religious people, holy people. It was a holy place. So holy place will definitely support holy people, not the irreligious ones. Because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa, and therefore by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. And so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation. Hmm? Fine. So, Dhritarashtra has these s- feelings inside, which he's hiding. First, he's thinking, what is his desire? That the battle should happen and the Kaurava should win. And there's another desire. Even if the battle does not happen, the Kauravas should only win, right? So that is his desire. But what is his doubt? His doubt is battle will happen, but the Kauravas may not win. And what is his fear? His fear is battle will not happen. Why? They may compromise, they may negotiate. That is his fear, isn't it? And what is his hope? His hope is battle should not happen and Kaurava should win. That also he is hoping. Hmm? How? He is thinking Pandavas are holy people because they have gone to a holy place. They should become more renounced. So the Pandavas may think, why should we fight? Let Duryodhana become the king. We'll go back to the forest and live there. You know. So he's having this hope also that my sons should just become the kings without the Pandavas fighting. The Pandavas should become more renounced by going to a holy place. So all this is going on in the mind of Dhritarashtra, and that shows in the question he asked to Sanjaya. Fine. Mhm. Srila Prabhupada says otherwise there was no need to ask such a question. If a person is hungry and a plate of food is kept in front of that person is going to eat the food. You don't have to ask the question, now what did he do or what did she do? He will eat. So Prabhupada says if they came to fight, they will fight. Why is he asking what did they do? That means in his mind something is going on, right? Hmm? So that shows Dhritarashtra's uh, mind here. Along with that, there is another thing which Srila Prabhupada points out that he was an unjust king. In the next paragraph, we'll read the next paragraph. What does he say? Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family. Isn't it true? Yes. They both belong to the same dynasty. Which dynasty? Kuru dynasty. So, because they belong to Kuru dynasty, both of them should be called Kauravas because they belong to Kuru dynasty. But Dhritarashtra would always refer to his sons as Kauravas and the sons of Pandu as Pandavas. Hmm. So that way he would differentiate. Both the Pandavas and the sons of Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed here. He deliberately claimed only his sons as Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific position of Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu. As in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like Dhritarashtra's son, Duryodhan, and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthir would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharmakshetra and Kurukshetra, apart from their historical and Vedic importance. Hmm? In Sanskrit, I mean, even in normal uh, Hindi language or the languages that are more prominent in India, belonging to Devanagari script, uh, uh, or people who belong to Vedic culture, you know that if you have to address your brother's son, instead of telling my brother's son, people would prefer to say my nephew, isn't it? They would hardly say the name of the brother and then say his sons. They would directly say my nephews. Dhritarashtra did not have many brothers. He had only one brother. So if he would say my nephews, it was very clear refer, whom is he referring to. So in this Sanskrit, you can clearly say he's saying my sons and not my nephews. My sons and the sons of Pandu. right? And that way, his mind is getting revealed that he was discriminating and was not a good king. Um, Lesson: material attachment causes anxiety, which is happening with Dhritarashtra. He is doubtful, he is fearful, he is hopeful, he is desirous. So that's all is going on in the mind because of material attachment. And one becomes blind to dharma, duty, or religion. Now he's becoming blind to his duty as a king. As a king, what is his duty? Take care of the citizens. Who are the citizens? Everyone born in the kingdom are the citizens. So that means not only his sons, even Pandavas are his citizens. And he should be caring for them as a father. So he has that duty. But he's becoming blind towards that duty because of his attachment to his sons. Right? An analogy is given here in this purport. Krishna is like the farmer, Kurukshetra is like the field, Pandavas are like the crops, Kauravas are like the weeds. And Krishna is going to remove the weeds as a good farmer and keep the crops, which means the outcome of the battle is decided. What is going to happen? Right from verse number 1. Okay. Okay, so now we'll do uh, a group exercise. Everyone should participate in this. We will put you into different discussion groups within Zoom, and then you have to answer all these two questions after discussing with each other. Discuss the different reasons why a person, even though hearing, reading, or studying the message of Gita, may not get the ultimate goal or result that one is supposed to get. Fine. And then discuss what could be the reasons for Dhritarashtra to not have properly heard and understood the teachings of the Gita. Mhm. So we will make groups, Zoom groups. You discuss this with each other, the group mates, and be 5 minutes, 4 to 5 minutes. After the discussion, you then tell us what was your conclusion. And you can choose a group leader to express that in front of everyone. Fine. So all of you who are in the classroom, please participate in the discussion. Don't just stay uh, silent with the video off. Please join the discussion. I'm starting the groups. We'll make 6 groups. Okay, done. Hope you had a good discussion and everyone participated. So can you please share who are the group leaders? You can raise your hand. Every time we have group discussion like this, we'll be making a group leader. So easy for us to then share the message. Otherwise, it takes a long time if everyone speaks. Okay, so Tulasi Mataji. Two questions
Hare
were
Krishna
there.
Prabhu.
First, reasons why a person, even after hearing, reading, or studying the message of Gita, may not understand the ultimate goal or get the result. And, then next question we go after that. First question you can answer now. Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So the first question was the group discussed, and we've come up with the reasons why a person might not get the message is they might not have the mentality or the understanding or the desire or the interest in such topics, and therefore they might not get the actual understanding after it. They like Arjuna takes shelter of Krishna to understand the message, etc. They might not take shelter of Krishna or the speaker, to understand this complete message. And the essential goal of understanding is that you need to, at the end of the reading and the text, is to actually be interested in what someone is saying, to open your heart and your mind, especially in a place of difficulty. And like Arjuna was Krishna's friend and devotee, he opened his heart and his mind to understanding what needed to be said to get to that particular goal. I might be missing out some things, Prabhu, but that's in a nutshell what the group discussed for number one.
Okay, fine, good. Any other point from other groups? Let's hear. Sharada Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu. So we discussed the following. So first is one has to approach the Gita with the basic understanding that the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And one must understand the message of the Gita with connection to the Parampara. So these two things will enable one to, first of all, understand what they're reading in the right context. And there should be no mental speculation on the Bhagavad-Gita. It should be understood in line with the acharyas. And finally, one has to practice what they read. And it shouldn't just be a mere mental exercise or philosophical discussion. So this, the lack of would ultimately result in not getting the goal of the Gita at the end of it.
Fine.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. If you raise your hand, I'll call your name and then you can speak.
Hare Krishna.
First, raise your hand. Pratna Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. So in our group, there were Khyati Mataji, Rupali Mataji, and Krishna Mataji. So Khyati Mataji shared that because one is very attached to the material things and they are not practicing the sadhana in guidance of a pure Vaishnava or a elevated Vaishnava. That's why they cannot absorb the message. Rupali Mataji shared that materialistic desire are so overpowering and some person they take a long time to surrender because to surrender it's not very easy and being in the material world we are so conditioned, that's why, and then we also have the doer mentality. And Krishna Mataji shared that we do not practice what we hear, and therefore there is no progress. And this is a very important point that she shared that people they are either too happy in this material world or they are too miserable in this material world. So being in these two situations, they will not absorb the message of Bhagavad Gita. And I shared that for some people it's such a tall order that they think that I do not have capacity to follow it. And some people they think that it was practical then, but it is not practical now. So yeah, these are the points that we discussed for the first question, Prabhuji.
Okay, good. Thank you. Rutvija Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. Our group came up with the points first of all, when people were reading Bhagavad Gita, they consider it as a normal book instead of some scripture or spoken directly by the God, Supreme God Himself. That is, which means lack of faith, a lack of faith. Like Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He has spoken this especially for us, and which provides solution for the ultimate goals. And the second one is like too much material attachment, like Dhritarashtra, even though he knew like his truth and dharma is towards the Pandavas side, but still he wants Kauravas to win. So he was kind of practically blind towards his sons. So even though people in general, people are too much attached to the material things and they cannot leave that enjoyment and accept Bhagavad Gita as the primary thing. So yeah, these were the points that we came up. And personal interpretations, like even though people are reading, they interpret like what they understand, like that is the correct, instead of following coming towards the ultimate goal. So these three are the things.
Okay. Fine. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Darshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam. We got into a conclusion, Prabhuji, that it is basically whatever one is learning, unless and until there is a practical implication of that, the learning is incomplete. And we are so much conditioned to material attachment that all of us, we try to tweak the meaning of Gita and the learnings that has been delivered there to suit our own situations. And that is the reason that we don't attain the ultimate goal or the result that we are supposed to. And coming to the second question regarding Dhritarashtra, we suppose that Dhritarashtra again, his desire was so big. He wanted only his sons to win, okay, by hook or by crook. That actually blinded him for to make the right perceptions.
Yeah.
This is
Correct. Correct. So, you see, there are many reasons why a person may not understand Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? We can go to the next slide, which will give us the answer to the first question, which is Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan Prabhu says that a person having these three qualities can understand Bhagavad Gita. That person should have faith in the message. Second, that person is steady in following Dharma. That person is steady in following the path of Dharma, right? So irreligious people cannot understand. The Dhritarashtra is being irreligious in one sense, adharmic, because he's not doing his duty of a king properly. No? Cannot understand. Third, has conquered one's senses, which means that person has control over one's mind and senses. Hmm. That is a good student of Bhagavad Gita who can understand nicely. But at the same time, we see that there might be people who have not conquered the senses, who are not also properly and completely following Dharma, but they have faith. And such people can also start listening to Gita, applying slowly, slowly, and also make some progress. After some time, they will also then start following Dharma. They will also start practicing sense control, mind control. Isn't it? Hmm? Now, in case of Dhritarashtra, these all reasons were there and they are valid reasons. But then at the same time, you see, Dhritarashtra has a very powerful person giving in the message of Gita, which is Sanjaya, a pure devotee of Krishna. Sanjay is directly hearing from Krishna. It's almost like directly hearing from Krishna and passing on the message to Dhritarashtra. But still, Dhritarashtra is not able to take good advantage of such a pure person presenting the message. So, of the many reasons, one very prominent reason for Dhritarashtra not able to take advantage of the message of Gita is he was envious of Pandavas, who are devotees of Krishna. So that's why the message would not enter his heart. Krishna is there, and then Krishna's devotees are also there. And a student of Gita means a devotee. And a devotee cannot be envious of either Krishna or Krishna's devotees. So Dhritarashtra did a big blunder in life. Because of his envy towards pure devotees, he could not make good use of the opportunity he had to learn from great souls surrounding him. Can you imagine? He was the most fortunate person because he had the best people to guide him. Vishnu Pitama was there, a pure devotee. Vidura was there, a pure devotee. Sanjaya was there, a pure devotee. Vyasdev used to come visit them very often, who is none other than Lord Krishna, an incarnation of Lord Krishna. So such great personalities coming to his place and giving him good counsel, but he's not able to take good advantage of it. Why? Because he has this envy towards the Pandavas. So he is like, okay, the message is very important, very nice, but it doesn't enter his heart. So this is again very important reason for he not able to understand the message of Gita. Yes, Prarthana Mataji.
Prabhuji, so he could not understand the message because he was envious. Now we also have all these anarthas in our heart, no? Prabhuji, we also have envy. Like if some devotee is doing so good, maybe we will not question them in front of them, but in our heart we feel that envy, that oh, they are advancing and I am not able to. So
So
how
then
we will
then
absorb?
we will also not understand the message completely and correctly.
So what is the solution for that,
The
Prabhuji?
solution is to become a better devotee. If you become a better devotee, then you understand Krishna's message also better. The best devotee will understand the message the best.
So to overcome these anarthas and to become a better devotee is like just you follow your basic sadhana very
On
sincerely.
the sadhana, and also you desire to change yourself and you work on the anarthas.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
So now Dhritarashtra has made a question, right? What was the question in simple words? What did my sons and the sons of Pandu do? right? These two things is asking. He's asking about his sons, he's asking about the sons of Pandu. So what does Sanjay do? What came first? Mama Kaha came first, and then Pandavas, right? So Sanjay will choose to now speak about his sons in some verses. And after that, he will choose to speak about the sons of Pandu in the remaining verses. Hmm? That's how he's replying to Dhritarashtra's question. Fine, Vardayani Matusha.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like we are discussing that on this very much that what did they do? But Prabhuji, if like war is going on, so person will ask that what happened. So
War
it
is
is
not
like
going on.
normal.
War is not yet started. War will start, isn't it? So he's asking, what did they do? Are they going to fight? Are they going to, or they did a negotiation? What did they do? He's not asking what are they doing because he knows that this has happened in the past. What did they do? Um, he's asking about something which happened in the past. No, I told that, right? In Mahabharata, it is given that Sanjaya was fighting on the battlefield. So he was asking, inquiring, tell me what happened from the beginning. So he's asking, what did they do? Okay. Uh, Now Sanjay is replying, what did Duryodhana do in verses 12 to,
Prabhuji,
sorry, not 2 to 13. Yeah.
Prabhuji, Sanjay was fighting on the battlefield. So on whose side he was fighting?
Kauravas side.
All of us. He was fighting on Kauravas.
Hmm. So Duryodhana's fear and diplomacy in verses 2 to 13. This is a reply to what my sons do. Hmm. Fine. So Sanjay is the secretary of Dhritarashtra, a long-standing associate or companion in his work. So therefore, Sanjay knows the mind of Dhritarashtra. When you spend good amount of time with someone, then you start understanding that person's mind also, right? How does that person think? How does that person react? What is going on in the mind of the person? So Sanjay could sense that this person, this king of ours, is little afraid. He's thinking that the battle may not happen. But there's nothing like that. Battle was going to happen, isn't it? So Sanjay cleared that up. Don't worry. Don't think that it's a holy place. Now your sons have gone there and they must have become a bit religious and they will compromise. So he did not he didn't want to have Dhritarashtra have any such kind of illusion. So he cleared it up in verse number 2. Sanjay said to Dhritarashtra, Sanjay Uvacha, Drishtva tu Pandavanekam Vyudham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abraved. Sanjay said, Drishtva, after seeing Pandavanikam, the army arranged by the Pandavas. Vyuha means formation, right? So in the battle, the armies would be arranged in a formation. There are different kinds of vyuha. You must have heard the name Chakra Vyuha, very famous. But there are different vyuhas, and each army would make different vyuhas based on what the opposite army is making, right? But you should know vyuha. This is something very interesting. Sometimes you may not know it. Vyuha doesn't just mean that they are standing on the battlefield in a particular shape, like the different vyuhas. Vyuha of a bird, Garuda, then Vajra Vyuha, then Chakra Vyuha, right? Sarpa Vyuha. So it's not that they're just standing in that shape. Actually, if you take an aerial view of the battle, if it's a Garuda Vyuha, then the entire army is not just standing like a bird, they are fighting like a bird. Which means if you watch the entire battle from the top, you will see a big, huge bird moving on the ground. You know, that's how a Vyuha was. So it was not just stand in one position. They were so highly trained that they are fighting, they're killing each other, but the viewer formation doesn't break. So they were very skilled. I mean, those Kshatriyas were not nowadays on Republic Day in some countries. The army, they just do some march past and they show some skills, and we are very happy. We clap. These people are so talented and they can jump like this and they can do things like that. But you can just imagine the entire army is moving like a snake. The entire army is moving like a bird. The entire army is moving like a thunderbolt. The entire army is moving like a chakra and still fighting and still killing people. So that's how they arrange themselves. So when Duryodhana, he saw the vyuha arranged by the Pandavas, what happened? He went to his Acharya, that is Dronacharya, Duryodhana Stada. Acharyam upasangamya. He approached them, Raja Vachanam Abravit, and he spoke something. So Sanjay has purposefully addressed Duryodhana here as Raja, king, because he wants to tell Dhritarashtra, don't worry, your son is as blind as you, as irreligious as you, just like you don't change. Even if he goes to a holy place, he will not change. So don't have any fear. He's not going to compromise. No negotiation will happen. He's still bent upon fighting. So in that way, he indirectly told Dhritarashtra that give up your fear. O king, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words. He spoke the following words. Fine. Let's read the Bhagavad. Someone please read. Priyanka Mataji, please read.
Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision. He knew very well that his sons were equally blind in the matter of religion, and he was sure that they could never reach an understanding with the Pandavas, who were all pious since birth. Still, he was doubtful about the influence of the place of pilgrimage, and Sanjaya could understand his motive in asking about the situation on the battlefield. Sanjaya wanted therefore to encourage the despondent king and thus assured him that his sons were not going to make any sort of compromise under the influence of the holy place. Sanjaya therefore informed the king that his son Duryodhana, after seeing the military force of the Pandavas, at once went to the commander-in-chief Dronacharya to inform him of the real position. Although Duryodhana is mentioned as the king, he still had to go to the commander on account of seriousness of the situation. He was therefore quite fit to be a politician, but Duryodhana's diplomatic veneer could not disguise the fear he felt when he saw the military arrangements of the Pandavas.
So Duryodhana is also afraid because he saw the Pandavas' army, but he doesn't want to show his fear. He is behaving in a diplomatic way. But because he's afraid, he is able to not understand also how we are going to face this army. So he approaches his Acharya Drona to discuss with him. What should we do next? We didn't expect this, right? So what is he afraid about? Duryodhana? What is he afraid about?
Can I? Essentially, that whether his army is as powerful or if they are as prepared as the Pandavas.
Is it so? Is it so? If they are coming for a battle, they will definitely prepare themselves, right, before coming to the battle. So they have thought of all the possible reasons how the Pandavas can outdo them in the battle. So for him, this is a shock. When he saw the Pandavas army, he got a little shocked. That means he didn't expect it the way it was. So what was that? Looking at the size of the army. That's what gave him fear. He didn't expect Pandavas to bring a very huge army like that. Why he didn't expect so? Because he used little sense that they were in the forest for 12 years. That means no contact. After that, they lived for 1 year in incognito. Incognito means they cannot even come out as Pandavas. They were completely hidden in disguise. So they cannot write letters to kings. They cannot meet them. They cannot have any kind of deal. Nothing. So his plan was that because they were completely, you know, away from the society, they would hardly be able to bring some little army. But the Pandavas brought huge army. And he was shocked that how did they do that? From where did they get so many people? In Mahabharata, it is mentioned the Kauravas were 11 Akshahonis, Pandavas were 7 Akshahonis, which means huge, you know, more than half their size. So that's why he is now shocked and he is approaching his teacher to discuss. But while he approaches his teacher, instead of sharing his mind in a very honest and submissive manner, what does he do? He he starts making fun of his teacher. Hmm. So he's trying to do many things here in this verse 1.3. Pashyatang Panduputranam Acharya Mahating Chamo Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tabashishyena Dhimata. What is he saying? Pashyatam. Pashyatam means see. See whom? Panduputranam. See the sons of Pandu. Hmm? So what is he trying to do by saying that? Has Dronacharya never seen the sons of Pandu? Definitely he has seen. So what is he saying? See them, look at them. So the mood is, look at those shameful students of yours. They learned from you and now they have come to fight against you. Pashyatang Panduputranam. They are so ungrateful, so shameless that they learned everything from you and they have come to fight against you. In this way, he's trying to make Dronacharya angry against the Pandavas. Pashyatang Pandaputrana Acharya Mahatim Chamum. Look at them and look at the great army. They have brought this army for what? To fight against you. And they learned everything from you. Look at them, how shameless they are. And more than that, who is the commander in chief? Who did they use for making this arrangement of the army? That person who was born to kill you. Vyudham Drupadaputrena. They have used that person who is born to kill you, the son of Drupada. So there is an history to this. Drupada and Dronacharya were friends, good friends, childhood friends, but later on they had some fight and then they wanted to take revenge from each other. And in that fight, Dronacharya won, Drupada lost. Dronacharya used his students, Pandavas, to win over Drupada. And then after that, Dronacharya made Drupada feel very low and humble. How? He took the kingdom of Drupada and then gave a small portion of the kingdom back to him and said, be happy. So in that way, he insulted Drupada. So that time Drupada wanted to take revenge, so he did a sacrifice with the purpose that the person born from this sacrifice will kill Dronacharya. And that was Drupada's son, Drishtadyumna. After the son was born, everyone came to know this boy is born to kill Dronacharya. So Drupada told his son, now you go and join the school of Dronacharya and learn from him. And Dronacharya said no. No, Dronacharya said, okay, I'll accept you as a student. So Dronacharya taught him. So now what is Duryodhana telling in the last line? Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Your student is so intelligent. He was born to kill you. He's a son of your enemy. He learned from you and now he has come to kill you. Indirectly, he's telling Dronacharya My dear teacher, you're such a fool. If you knew that this boy was born to kill you, why did you teach him? So Dronacharya is indirectly telling, Duryodhana is indirectly telling Dronacharya, you did some mistakes like that, silly mistakes, foolishness you showed in the past. Now in this battle, don't do any such silly mistakes. Fine. So he's telling his teacher like this, Duryodhana, indirectly. He's making him angry against the Pandavas. He's in a sarcastic manner reprimanding him also that don't do such things in the battle. Give up your affection towards the Pandavas in the battle. Don't be affectionate towards them. Translation. O my teacher, behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada. Purport. Let's read. Pandurang Prabhu, please read.
Duryodhan, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defects of Dronacharya, the great Brahmin commander-in-chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupad, the father of Draupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupad performed a great sacrifice by which he received the benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet, as a liberal Brahman, he did not hesitate to impart all the military secrets when the son of Drupad, Dhishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for military education. Now, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Dhishtadyumna took the side of Pandavas, and it was he who arranged for their military phalanx, after having learned the art from Dronacharya. Duryodhan pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fighting. By this, he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna, especially, was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Duryodhan also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Easy and to understand the purport here, right? Let's go to the next one. So now, after saying like this to Dronacharya, he is also telling something else. Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayuti Yuyudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharatha. Here in this army, which means the Pandavas army, are many heroic women. Bhima. He's mentioning the name of Bhima first. So he's saying there are many people here as powerful as Bhima and Arjuna. Great fighters like Yudhana, Virata, and Drupada. So he's mentioning some of them. Purport. Even though Drishtadyumna was not a very important obstacle in the face of Dronacharya's very great power in the military art, there were many others who were causes of fear. They are mentioned by Duryodhana as great stumbling blocks on the path of victory, because each and every one of them was as formidable as Bhima and Arjuna. He knew the strength of Bhima and Arjuna, and thus he compared the others with them. Next. Drishtaketuश्चैकितानः काशीराजश्च वीर्यवान् Puruchit Shebyascha Narapungavaha. There are also great heroic powerful fighters like Drishtaketu, Chekitana, Kashiraj, Puruchit, Kuntibhoj, and Shebya. Okay, so some of these fighters are mentioned. Now, Srila Prabhupada adds an explanation here in one of the lectures. What does he say? One of you please read the slide. Sharada Mataji, please read.
So, names of different kings. So, people may ask, by mentioning these great fighters, what spiritual progress do we make? We are meant for chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, by chanting the names of these great fighters, what do we gain? But the thing is that Nirbandhaha Krishna Sambandhi. Whenever there is a connection with Krishna, that also becomes Krishna.
So this is a verse or a part of a verse taken from Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, which we are going to study later. So Srila Prabhupada is using a concept given in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu to explain this point here in Bhagavad-Gita. Why these names are taken? They are not Krishna's names, but Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, everything that is connected to Krishna is also Krishna, or will also lead to Krishna consciousness. Hmm? That's the point, isn't it? Fine. So if a personality like Srila Prabhupada is teaching someone how to make kachoris, right, for Krishna, then that entire process of making kachoris for Krishna is also Krishna consciousness, right? Though you are dealing with dal and spices and ghee and oil and everything, material substance. But because it is for Krishna, then that entire thing becomes Krishna consciousness. That's being explained here, even in this verses. These names are important because they are related to Krishna. Fine. Okay. We every day sing Narsinghati, Namaste Narasinghaya, Praladadadayine. So if you sometimes noticed in that entire Narsinghati, Prahlad Maharaj's name comes only once. He is a devotee. And Hiranyakashipu's name comes 2 times. He's a demon. Right? But then you can't say, well, why should we take Hiranyakashipu's name? After all, he's a demon. We should chant Prahlad's name. But in that prayer, Prahlad's name comes only once, and his name comes twice. Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe, everything that is connected to Krishna in the right manner becomes Krishna consciousness. Okay. Next, go to the verse number 6. Yudhamanyuscha vikranta uttamojascha viryavan sobhadro draupadeyascha sarva eva maharatha. There are the mighty Yudhamanyu, the very powerful Uttamoja, the son of Subhadra and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters. Asmakam tu vishishtaye tani buddha dvijottama nayaka mama sainyasya sangyathantan bravimite. Now, though he was speaking about the other side, Duryodhana is very clever. What did he notice? By speaking so nicely about the other side, you look at them, they are so powerful, they are so brave, they are so chivalrous, and they are so prepared, and their army is so big. He was kind of discouraging his own army. And he felt that. So then he switched the topic. It's okay. If they are great, we are no less. We are also great. So he's changing the topic now. He's bringing it to his own side. So he's saying, Asmakam tu vishishtaye. My dear Acharya, don't think that they are just powerful and we are not. No, no. On our side also, we have great fighters. But for your information, or best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force. Like that, he's handling the situation. Right? So now Srila Prabhupada again gives a comment on these verses. Let's read. Srila Prabhupada's comments are very insightful. Vardhani Mataji.
Think of the darker side also. This is intelligence. One should calculate the opposing elements. In fighting, the first thing is to estimate the enemy's side, how strong they are, how they are arranged. Then one should calculate how to counterattack, how to fight with them. This is intelligence. A, a pragya, an intelligent man, not only thinks of the bright side of business or anything, there is a darker side also. Lecture on Bhagavad-Gita 1.67, London, 11 July 73.
Yes. So an intelligent person is someone who looks at both the sides, the bright side, the darker side of anything he or she does. That's how you emerge victorious in anything you do. If you just look at the good part and not the challenges, the difficulties that are going to come, we are sure to fail, right? We're sure to fail. So it's very important to do that. Okay, next verse number 8. Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Kripascha Samiting Jayaha Ashwathama Vikarnascha Saumadatti Tathaivacha. Their personalities like you, Bhavan means you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa. Kripa is related to Dronacharya because Kripa's sister was married to Dronacharya. Ashwathama was the son of Dronacharya. Vikarna and the son of Somadatta, called Bhurishava, were always victorious in battle. So now he's naming great fighters on his side. Okay, starting with Dronacharya. Why did he name Dronacharya before Bhishma? Who is superior to, if you look at these two personalities, Bhishma and Drona, who is superior?
Bhishma,
How is he superior?
because he was the commander in chief.
No, there were many commanders in chief. How is he superior? Otherwise, how is he superior?
Duryodhan mentions Dronacharya first because, Duryodhan mentions Dronacharya because he's a Brahmana
He's a
and
Brahmana. Bhishma is a Kshatriya.
Kshatriya. Yeah.
Correct. But otherwise, who is superior?
By
Bhishma is
age,
superior.
Bhishma
is
is superior by
And if
age.
you look at the fighting skills, then
Also, Bhishma is superior. He
Bhishma
is
is
the
superior.
student of,
Parshurama,
Parashuram.
right?
Yes.
So, therefore, Bhishma is superior in some ways, but still he chose to give the name of Dronacharya because Dronacharya is a Brahmana. Fine. So he's thinking that if I mention a Kshatriya's name before Brahmana, then the Brahmana may feel insulted. And therefore he's putting the name of the Brahmana first. That don't feel bad. And if Bhishma is mentioned after Dronacharya, Bhishma will think anyway he is a Brahmana, his name should be taken first. I am a Kshatriya, I'm okay with the second position. So he's just being little careful of how much respect he's giving to whom, right? And then he mentions the names of son of Dronacharya and one of his brothers, Vikarna. Let's read the purport here. Abhay Prabhuji, please read.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Duryodhana mentions the exceptional heroes in the battle, all of whom are ever victorious. Vikarna is the brother of Duryodhana. Ashwathama is the son of Dronacharya, and Somadatti or Bhuri Srava is the son of the king of the Bahili caste. Karna is the half brother of Arjuna, as he was born of Kunti before her marriage with King Pandu. Kripacharya's twin sister married Dronacharya. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
अन्ये च बहवः शूरा मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः. There are many other heroes. Now he just mentioned few. Others may feel bad, therefore he's covering up them also. There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced in military science. So he's kind of praising everyone so that they all fight well for him. Sita Mataji.
As far as the others are concerned, like Jayadratha, Kritavarma, and Shalya, all are determined to lay down their lives for Duryodhana's sake. In other words, it is already concluded that all of them would die in the battle of Kurukshetra for joining the party of the sinful Duryodhana. Duryodhana was, of course, confident of his victory on account of the above-mentioned combined strength of his friends.
Yes. Then aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam paryaptam tvidametesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. So then he's telling that if you compare them and us, we are more safe. Why? Because Bhishma is leading us. He's so experienced. He has fought so many battles. He's so, strong. And who is there on the other side leading them? Bhima, or Bhima is just a child? What does he know of about fighting? So we are very strong, and therefore we are sure to win. So he's comparing like that. Our strength is immeasurable, and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma. So by doing this, what is it trying to do actually? It's trying to win the heart of Bhishma. That please don't have any affection towards the Pandavas when you are fighting, fight for us wholeheartedly. Whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Okay. That's what he's doing. Trying to make sure that these two personalities, Bhishma and Drona, who have a lot of affection for the Pandavas, do not feel any affection during the battle. Perfect. Tulasi Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Herein, an estimation of comparative strength is made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general, Grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general, Bhima, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhana was always envious of Bhima because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhima. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious was well ascertained. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Next verse. अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागम् अवस्थिताः भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि. All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army. So he's telling that you all please help Bhishma because Bhishma is now an old man. So you all help him by protecting him. Because you see, when someone is busy fighting, he'll not see who is there on the left, who is there on the right, where from arrow is coming. So there are people who are standing, around that person who is protecting them. And if you read Mahabharata, then you will know that when they are fighting, they have different strategies to kill. First of all, they'll kill the horses, then they'll destroy the wheel of the chariot. You know, if someone is moving, it's difficult to fight with that person. So what is the first thing that you try to do? Stop that person. Make that person immovable. And then you slowly capture or conquer that person, right? So that's how it's like a combined effort to win a battle. It's not one person alone will do. So he's telling others, you all please, you though I'm not taking your name and giving you so much of respect and high position, but you are also important because if you don't do your job well, then he's an old man. You have to protect him. So he's telling like that to others also. Let's read the purport. Krishna Mataji.
Duryodhan, after praising the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important. So, in his usual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishma Dev was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man. So, everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Duryodhan clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depended on the presence of Bhishma Dev. He was confident of the full support of Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya in the battle because he well knew that they did not even speak a word when Arjuna's wife Draupadi, in her helpless condition, had appealed to them for justice, while she was being forced to appear naked in the presence of all the great generals in the assembly. Although he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for the Pandavas, he hoped that these generals would now completely give it up as they had done during the gambling performances. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So now he has addressed Drona, he has addressed Bhishma, he has addressed the other uh, commanders in his army, he has addressed the general fighters also. So his expectation is what? You all please fight nicely, yeah? Don't compromise. Don't show any affection towards the Pandavas. You may like them, but don't do anything like that. Fight for me. Fight for my cause. Be loyal to me. That's what he's trying to tell all of them. Be loyal to me, isn't it? So now, when Bhishma hears his statements, Bhishma can understand that Duryodhana is afraid. Afraid of what? That he will not get full support. And if he loses in the battle, that loss will not be because of his wrong intentions. That loss will be because of these people not fighting well. You know, that Bhishma did not fight well, that's why I lost. Dronacharya did not fight well, that's why I lost. So Duryodhana will always come to such a conclusion. Therefore, to teach Duryodhana a very important lesson, Bhishma wants to again tell him, which he has told many times to Duryodhana before, that my dear son, however hard we may try and however best we may fight, the victory will not be ours. Why? Because Krishna is on their side, which Duryodhana does not understand. He just thinks strategies, power, you know, uh, and all that is going to help him become victorious. But Bhishma is saying, however hard we may try, we may fight the best, but still we will lose. Why? Because Krishna is on the other side. This is a truth which Bhishma knows. This is a truth which Dronacharya also knows. They know very well what will be the outcome of this battle. But they are fighting on Duryodhana's side for some reasons. So they want to make sure that Duryodhana understands this. And therefore, what does Bhishma do? Though Duryodhana said so much, Bhishma did not reply. What did he do? He just took up his conch shell and blew it loudly. Tasya sanjanayan harsham kuruvidha pitamaha singhanadam vinatyochai shankam dadmahu pratapavan. So he took his conch shell and he blew it very loudly, which means very enthusiastically, which means I will fight my best. Don't worry. Don't have any, you know, what do you call, um, preconceived notions about how are we going to perform in the battle. We will do our best. But taking the conch shell, he also wanted to indicate something else to Duryodhana. What is that? This conch shell is actually a symbol of Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu is on the other side. So who will win this battle? They will win this battle. Not you, not us. They will win. So that's what Bhishma wants to declare. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Now Duryodhana is very happy. Oh, Bhishma is going to fight very nicely. We will win. But Duryodhana is being told by Bhishma in indirect manner, no, we will not win. They will win. Right? Yeah, Kalindi Mataji, you want to read?
The
The grandsire of the Kuru
dynasty.
dynasty would understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Hare Krishna.
So he's telling we will fight our best, don't worry. We will not compromise, Duryodhana. Huh? But then Bhishma here is showing a very important point to Duryodhana as well as to all of us. That you see, sometimes you know that what you are going to do or what you are trying to do will not have the results in your favor. Bhishma knows I am fighting for the wrong man. And he knows I'm fighting for the loser, one who's going to lose. But still, Bhishma is on his side. Why? Because Krishna wants him on that side. Hmm. Isn't it? And therefore, Bhishma is a pure devotee. Because Bhishma is doing what Krishna wants. Though he's on the side of the Kauravas, he is a devotee of Krishna because he is there on that side due to Krishna's desire. Krishna wants that. And therefore, Bhishma is also ready for that. Arjuna is a pure devotee. Bhishma is also a pure devotee. One is fighting for Krishna. One is fighting against Krishna's devotees. Right? But though he's fighting against Krishna's devotees, the reason he's fighting against is to support the cause of Krishna only. What is that cause? Krishna knew if Dronacharya and Bhishma were not on the side of the Kauravas would never have the courage to come for a battle. So therefore, Krishna wanted them to be on that side, that they would agree to then fight. So this is how we understand that sometimes great personalities, what they do externally may be seen as the wrong thing, but actually there's a higher reason for that, isn't it? So Bhishma Pitama is a very interesting personality in entire Mahabharata. You know, he is on the wrong side, but is not wrong. Okay. So when Bhishma did that, what did the other members in the army do? They also blew their instruments. तथा शङ्खाश्च भैर्यश्च प्रणवानकगोमुखाः सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्त सशब्दस्तुमलोभवत्. After that, the conches, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. A very loud sound was made by all of them by playing different musical instruments, which is an indication that we are ready to fight. From our side, we are ready to fight. The battle can begin. Fine. So we stop here for today. From tomorrow, in the class tomorrow, we'll discuss verse 14 onwards. What did the Pandavas do? What did the Kauravas do is over. Now, what did the Pandavas do? That will begin. Okay. But the Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have two questions. First question is that, like, we can see that different qualities of Duryodhan we can see here, that he is offending his guru, and then he is always into mental calculation, material calculation. So is this all like bad qualities are coming because he's not devotee of Krishna? And my second question is that, like Prabhupada also is telling that we should see the darker side also. So, till what extent we should calculate, and till what extent we should leave it in hands of God? Like Pandavas are also planning, but they are trusting God also. So, these two questions. Thank you very much.
Good question. So one, is Duryodhana doing all this because he is a non-devotee? Uh, the way he is doing is definitely wrong because it's not a devotee. He's doing it in a wrong manner. His approach is wrong, right? His attitude is wrong. That is for sure. Easy to understand. So therefore, a devotee will not do like that. We will see the difference. Duryodhana, what did he do? And what is Arjuna going to do after seeing the other side, the other army? So there is a difference between both of them, their approach. Now, the second point, uh, Prabhupada said you should look at the darker side. And as a devotee, how much should we do that? Should we not just depend on Krishna? We depend on Krishna definitely, but then whatever is possible for us to do, whatever is within our capacity, our control, we definitely try it to do that thing in the best way possible. After that, okay, whatever Krishna desires. But then within my capacity, how much ever I can do, I should do. After that, Krishna desires. If it's fine, fine. It's okay. Isn't it? Like to give you an example, if you have money, if you have cash, and you are going to use that cash in Krishna Seva, so will you not keep that cash in a protective place where the cash is not stolen from? That you will do. You are not going to leave that cash outside the door of your house, isn't it? You will keep it in a safe place, in a protected place. So that's your part, because you can understand if I keep it outside, the chances of it being stolen are more than if I keep it in a safe place. But if you keep it in a safe place, still it may get stolen. Who knows? That time you leave it on Krishna now. Okay, I did my best. Still it was stolen. So one has to look at the darker side also.
Prabhuji, when you will call it overthinking? Because like in my life, if I'm taking any decision, then I go into a lot of mental speculation or overthinking. So how much we should think, and like if you can explain.
The overthinking might be because of many reasons. And if it is only something that you do sometimes, then it's okay. Because sometimes you really have to think a lot on a certain subject matter. But if you do that on petty things also, small things, then that's wrong. That's not a good quality. Sometimes we have to really think hard on certain topics or certain issues in life. You can't just neglect them. Okay, I thought for 2 seconds and I'm done with it. Then sometimes you may have to think for days and days and days on a particular issue, which is an important issue. So that is okay. But if we do it as a general thing, every small thing we become so worried about, so much we think about. So then that we have to learn to give up. For that, it's not that you have to depend on Krishna, it's just that you have to change your mental functioning. How do you function in the mind? And for that, what is the sutra? We should try to be in the present. That means what we are doing, try to do that nicely. Overthinking, people who do overthinking, they are always either in the past or in the future. They're never in the present. Which means what they are doing, they don't do it wholeheartedly. So the remedy to stop overthinking is you bring your mind on that what you are doing now. Focus on that. Mind cannot do two things at the same time, right? So if you are busy whole day doing something productive, then the mind will be busy also. If you are idle, then the mind will keep on thinking about the same thing again and again. Darshana Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Uh, Prabhuji, my question is regarding Draupadi Chirharan that happened. Okay, I was just trying to understand that what higher purpose can this episode have. For example, one we can understand complete surrender to Krishna. But I wanted to understand that the stance that Bhishma and Dronacharya took during this, what higher purpose would that have?
Good question, Matan. So now why Dronacharya did not respond to that situation? We will not really go into that deeply. But from Bhishma's point of view, we can understand why Bhishma did not respond to that situation at that time. You are asking this question. You are not the first to ask this question. The same question was asked by Draupadi herself to Bhishma. You know,
Yes.
Draupadi herself
Yeah.
asked this question. That when when Bhishma was lying on the bed of arrows and giving so much good instruction, knowledge to Yudhishthira. So Draupadi said, "Now you are talking so much. At time you did not speak anything. Where was your
Yes.
knowledge gone at that time?"
Mhm.
Isn't it? So she also asked. So then Bhishma just gave a very simple reply to her, and she said, "My dear daughter, dharma is very complicated to understand, which means what is one supposed to do at a particular situation is a very complicated thing, you know." So his answer has the answer that for Bhishma at that moment, that was the thing desired to do. What was that? Keep quiet. Why for Bhishma? Because did he not have the capacity to protect Draupadi? He had the capacity to protect Draupadi. But if he does so, then he's interfering in Krishna's plan to come and save Draupadi. You know? Because when he does not protect Draupadi, others don't protect Draupadi, what is going to happen? Draupadi is going to surrender to Krishna, and then Krishna is going to come in the scene to protect Draupadi. So if Bhishma suddenly jumps in to protect Draupadi, how would that entire pastime of Krishna protecting Draupadi happen? It won't happen. Now, what is the higher purpose in that? The higher purpose is, as a devotee, he doesn't want to steal the show. You are a supporting actor, and suddenly you steal the show and do what the main actor is supposed to do. That's an insult to the main actor, no?
Yes, it
So
is.
Bhishma very well knows that this is a situation where Krishna is supposed to come and protect Draupadi. That's why he's kind of what do you call? He's indifferent, but he's not wrong. Internally, he was feeling very bad for Draupadi, but he understands that this is just a pastime of Krishna to teach people through Draupadi complete surrender.
Okay, Prabhuji. Fine.
Right? So
There's one more
sometimes,
question.
sometimes there are certain higher principles like that, which are beyond mundane morality. And
Yes. Okay. There's one more question, Prabhuji, that I have. Now, Dhritarashtra was the elder brother and Pandu was the younger brother, right? Uh, Fine, due to his blindness, he was not able to take the king's position, and Pandav had to step in there. We understand this, but then again, here, uh, how does it go? Like the next king has to be Pandava's children only, or it is okay if Dhritarashtra's children also could have taken the throne?
It was okay. I mean, but the problem happened. The problem was that Pandu's eldest son was elder than Dhritarashtra's eldest son.
Okay.
So if Dhritarashtra's child was born before Pandu's child, then people could have thought, okay, now he is the eldest, so let him become the king. But somehow or other, by the will of providence, Yudhishthira was born before Duryodhana.
Okay.
So then, then again, this is a rule. The eldest should become the king. The eldest should become the king. In that way, Yudhishthira becomes more, you know, qualified candidate for that position.
Okay. Okay. Fine.
Right? That's why again, mm, otherwise it was okay. If Duryodhana was elder than Yudhishthira, then they might have accepted this whole situation. And it was not about who becomes the king. It was all about at least don't be partial. Pandavas did not want the entire kingdom. They were happy with half the kingdom. They were happy with 1/10 of the kingdom. They were happy with just 5 villages. But they just wanted some part in the kingdom because they wanted to do their duty as a Kshatriya,
Yes, agreed. Okay.
isn't it? Uh, so they were okay with that. But then these people were not okay with that. These people were like either uh, we remain the kings or we have a battle, we fight. So the Pandavas had to also agree for it then. Um, badly. They didn't want it, but they had to agree.
Right. We understand that since childhood there was a envious kind of a situation from the Kauravas side towards Pandavas. So
Yes. And that was because, you see, as children, why you have to be envious towards each other? But Duryodhana was always desirous of becoming the king in future. So right from childhood days, he was holding that envy towards the Pandavas. Otherwise, as children, you just play and have fun, no? Leave the future
yes,
for future,
right.
isn't it? Leave the future for future. But Duryodhana was so ambitious about that throne that right from the childhood he used to have that envy towards them that when they grow up, they will become the king. Why will I not become the king? They will become the king. And that's why right from the childhood days, he was finding ways to kill them, to harass them, to cause them pain, to many ways they tried, but they could not succeed.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So we stop here if no more. We have a question. Sita Mataji, yes?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Prabhu, I'm a little nervous to ask the question, but I will just ask. So when it comes to higher principles, so for example, when it comes to understanding the concept of higher principles, like in the case of Bhishmadev, when you're in a situation where, for example, there is a female devotee who gets pregnant and cannot keep the child, so she considers to abort the child so that she can continue with her devotional service or go deeper in her devotional service. Already the mistake has been made that she has become pregnant. But because of the
Without
high
getting married.
is without getting married, yes. So this has already happened. But then is it correct to apply or advise to apply this breaking a lower principle for a higher principle, the higher principle being that she wants to go and dive in her Krishna consciousness? And I hope I am clear. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. So now question is, let's say there is a situation like that where a woman or a girl before marriage or outside marriage gets pregnant, and now she thinks that I should abort the child, right? Abortion, right? Abort the child so that I can practice Krishna consciousness properly, isn't it? So a question comes, if she was so concerned about Krishna consciousness, why did she become pregnant before marriage?
Prabhu, sometimes things happen.
Yeah, it happens, it is true. But then it was a mistake, right?
Yes.
If she was really interested in Krishna consciousness, she would have been very careful that such thing doesn't happen. Hmm?
Yes.
If she was very serious in Krishna consciousness, she would have thought that why am I doing this? Let me get married to the person and then, we should properly conceive a child and whatever. So she got deviated from Krishna consciousness, and as a result, she did a mistake. So that mistake is a punishment,
Mhm.
right? Now there are two things. One is now because after doing the mistake, you realize, oh, I have done a big blunder, and what will people say about me? And now so much of shame is there. I'm not married and I have a child, and then how will I take care of this child? And what will people say? And all that. So then one may think, let me just get rid of this entire problem by saying that better I now give up the child and become a better devotee. So sometimes, one's own mind may cheat oneself. Therefore, when a lower principle is given up for a higher principle, in the case of Vishnu Pitama, we cannot judge their intention because they are pure-hearted. However, in the case of a conditioned soul like us, when we just say that, okay, for a lower principle, higher principle, I'm giving up a low principle, it might be a treachery of our own mind. And therefore, one should be very careful. First thing. Second thing, in such a situation, that person should better ask some very mature, wise, religious, and spiritually able personalities. Is this the right thing to do? If they say no, then she should just bring up that child, or at least give birth to that child. If they say okay, then when they say okay, then they will also give some punishment to her, some kind of, because after all, aborting a child means a very heavy sin, isn't it? It's a very heavy sin. It's not a small sin. It's a very heavy sin. So they will also give some kind of, what do you call, prayaschitta atonement. Just a second, huh? Just a second.
No problem.
Therefore, this is very important that when we are in a situation like this and we are thinking for a higher principle, I'm giving up a lower principle. We should always do it with proper consultation and consultation from the right person. Yeah. Because for some mistakes in life, until and unless we get the due punishment, we will not change our consciousness. Punishment is required. Then only consciousness changes because, after you pay the price, then you become more serious about life and whatever you do, right? Therefore, in any such situation, it is best to consult some very wise person and then take a decision. Not whimsically, I'll do something. It will be helpful for my Krishna consciousness.
Thank you, Prabhu. This question is actually was a consultation from a mentor, a senior devotee to a junior devotee. So then this situation is something that happened, and I just remembered it because the answer that was given, the advice that was given to this person was that it is okay to break a lower principle for a higher principle.
Yeah,
So
that's true, but
now I'm understanding.
it has to be done very maturely. How much lower and what are the consequences of breaking that, right? How much lower and the consequences. And second thing, you broke the principle, fine, lower for a higher. But then what if you don't succeed in the higher principle? Then what? Then what? Isn't it? So that is also there, right? That is also there. Therefore, sometimes we may just say something like that, but it's not good. Therefore, best is we encourage people to be on the right path, do the right thing. And if they do something wrong, accept the punishment for it. Accept something which will, give you some kind of regret, strong, serious regret, not just for 2 minutes you feel little sad about it and then you let go. Not like that. Not like that. Isn't it? It should leave a deep regret in the heart. Why I did something like that. Hmm? And it's fine. In my understanding, in such a situation, still that woman should give birth. If she cannot bring up the child, she can hand over the child to someone else. Not abort the child or kill the child,
Thank you, Prabhu.
right? Only what will happen? People will talk bad about her. That's what, isn't it? Yeah. But then that's a punishment.
Yes.
It's a punishment, and that's also a wake-up call for others if they are also doing or maybe may do such a mistake. Don't do such a mistake in life.
Thank you.
Then,
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
eh, Kunti Maharani, did she abort the child? Karna was born to her before marriage. She did not abort the child. Was she not a devotee? Did she not have higher principles and goals in life? She had, but then she still gave birth to the child. She knew I cannot maintain him, but she gave birth and then left the child for God to take care of. But she gave birth. She did not kill the child. No. So that lady approached a devotee, and the devotee was actually very wise, that devotee could have also said, "You give birth to the child, we'll take care of the child. You don't worry." Right? I mean, then that would have been a very compassionate thing to do as a devotee. But to just say, okay, get rid of the child to become a pure devotee of Krishna, does that really sound as devotional service? No, right? Okay, so we